Shalom, everybody. I'm going to do a little talk about and study on the judgment against the nations and dealing with the quote unquote the last 7 years, or the time of trouble, as spoken of in Daniel. And let's see, that's Daniel chapter 12. Speaking of the time of trouble. Also, there are other references in dealing with the time of trouble and or the last days or the end times, all right? In those last 7 years, all right? Excuse me. There are 28 judgments. 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 thunders, and 7 bowls of the wrath of God. 4 times 7 is 28, all right? There are 28 judgments against the nations, all right? This is not against Israel. This 7 years is not against Israel. This is judgment against the nations that come against Israel, all right? And so the last 7 years, all right, well, here a week or so ago, I was praying and I was pondering and seeking the Lord's wisdom on the last 7 years. And I said, well, why is I'm asking the Lord, saying, why is it 7 years? Or I'm thinking, why 7 years? Why not 20 years or 10 years or 490 years like dealing with Israel and stuff, right? But it's like I find this quite interesting, right? But in my heart and in my mind, right, the how shall I say it? The Spirit of God, or the Ruach HaKodesh, right, told me to read Ezra, right? And as I was reading Ezra, of course, when you read Ezra 1:1, it talks about Cyrus and the decree of Cyrus, to go to Jerusalem and start rebuilding the temple and the city and all that stuff, right? And while I was reading that, I was stopped and I thought about it for a minute or two, and this small, still voice of the Ruach HaKodesh again kind of wells up in my heart and brought to my remembrance about Mr. Trump, all right? And Cyrus number 2, shall I say, all right? Or the second Cyrus, all right? Back in 2017, and June the 12th of 2017, President Trump decreed that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and he also was talking about backing up rebuilding the temple, right? And so they actually minted a coin, with on the backside with the profile of Cyrus, right, and Mr. Trump superimposed on top of that. That was back in 2017, all right. And as I was reading Ezra and this thought about Trump and Cyrus came to my mind, I go, wow, that's interesting. I remember back when that was happening, I thought, wow, this is pretty trippy stuff, But it really didn't seem to have any kind of at that moment, any kind of prophetic relevance at all right? And I don't know if what I'm going to be talking about here has any prophetic relevance at all, but I find it interesting that from the decree of Cyrus, the first Cyrus, right, back in 538 to 539 BC, down to 2017, when you add it up, it's 2,555 slash 56 years, right? Depending on whether the fraction of the year is exclusive or inclusive, right? So you're still looking at 2,556 years, right? Thereabouts, okay? And of course, the last 7 years is 2,556 days. And I thought, well, that's weird. Why this amount of days with that amount of years? And then the year for the day scenario came into my mind in dealing with Ezekiel and a few other prophets, you know, in dealing with the year for the day retribution, all right, for like in Jeremiah and Daniel and Ezekiel and like dealing with the 70 weeks of Daniel, all right? Those 70 weeks of Daniel started way back in that time frame also when the children of Israel came out of Babylon and went back to Israel, all right, and started the animal sacrifices, laid the foundation for the second temple and all that stuff. And Daniel was trying to understand it, and like the Lord was showing him that there's going to be 490 years, right, from this point here to that point there, all right, which coincides basically with the time frame from what is it, Darius, right, or 516, from 516 AD when the temple was finished, right, all the way down to 70 AD is right at your 490 years, right? And then, of course, the second temple is destroyed, okay? And so that 490 years was judgment against Israel and her people, okay? So this conversation I'm speaking of is this is 7 years in the future is judgment against the nations, right? Not Israel, because Israel comes out on top. Yeah, Israel suffers a lot of trials and tribulations, and it's going to be the worst time of recorded history for Israel, all right? And not only many Gentiles, nations and peoples will die, but many Jews will die too, all right? And because of the wars and the plagues and on and on and on, right? Mainly the wars, right? And fighting over the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, okay? And especially in the last 3.5 years, right? And for those of you who are paying attention, all right, we know that last 7 years, all right, last 7 years, all right, 2,556/57 days, all right, and again, this is judgment against the nations, and it's actually Israel is basically protected out of it because it says it's the time of Jacob's trouble, but Jacob shall be saved from it, or during it, not from it, but during it, all right, in it, okay. And so ever since Cyrus, the first Cyrus, came in on the scene, all right, and he made the decree, all right, ever since that, from the second temple, from the construction of the second temple, all the way down to the destruction of the second temple, all the way down even to throughout history, all right, you know, even after the destruction of the second temple, Israel as a nation or as a peoples, all right, was persecuted, harassed, killed, murdered, slaughtered, on and on and on, right? all the way down till 1948, all right? And even at that time period there, they were still under the thumb, shall I say, of the nations or the goyim, all right? And then in 2018 or 2017, all right, Trump declares Jerusalem the capital, all right, which had never been done, all right, by any of the nations, all right, and spoke about rebuilding the temple and backing the rebuilding of the temple. And so they actually even minted a coin, all right. And I don't know if any of you have seen it, but I just posted a post on Facebook about it, right? But anyways, you can look up the Trump Cyrus coin, you know, and look at it yourself. Many people even purchased them, all right. I haven't purchased one, but I'd like to get a hold of one, Bizrat Hashem, with the help of the Lord. So anyways, I was thinking, is there some kind of prophetic parallel or between the 2,556 years of persecution by the Gentiles against Israel with the 7 years, right, in the day for the year parallel scenario type thing, right? I don't know if there is or I don't know if there ain't, but I just find it very interesting and odd that from 538 BC to 2017 AD is 2,556 years, all right? And that the last 7 years is 2,556 days, plus a little change, all right? But basically, right at the same day for the year principle, all right? And so, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, folks. I thought I'd give you a little talk about this. I did a video here last week about it too, and I'm going to post this one too. So I'm going to take care of some different things here, and we'll talk to you all later. Shalom from the hills of Israel. And do this, all right? Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Shalom, shalom, Yerushalayim. Lema'an Shemo. For his name's sake, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, all right? And for all you that are called out, Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Ahad. And if you get a chance, you know, click on the subscribe button and the notification, and if you can contribute to help me spread the word, I'd appreciate it. Shalom.